So
Yeah.
here we go, guys. Me and Jaxvex, we're going to check out some of the Steam reviews for DNF Duel. We talked about this on one of my playthroughs for Ghost Song on Twitch, and I'm probably going to post this to YouTube before I, post it anywhere else. Where else am I going to post it? I'm not going to post it to Twitch. I'm not streaming. But yeah. So as you can see, are you with me by the way, Jaxvex? Are you like on the same? Are you on the customer reviews?
Yeah. I'm looking at those now. I was trying to see if there was like a way to sort it by most recent, and we could just
Um,
go down
it
that
looks
way.
like there's a date range, um, only a specific range. But I was thinking we just go down it as it is, like just
Yeah,
raw.
yeah. Probably just go down as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Do
not.
like the ones that people are upvoting the most.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, whatever is sorted. um,
Yeah,
so
I think that's how it is because it says in the past 30 days, but some of these are like
yeah.
it might be earlier or yeah, I don't know. We could just go down however it's listed on here.
I kind of want to see the curators afterwards. Like, let's do a couple of these and like look at the curators because before this game came out, before like when the beta was out, the last beta on PSN, there was a curator that said it was like the worst game they ever played in their life, and I was like, I don't even know who this bitch is. Yeah,
What?
I know. But so the first one that you see is it DJ Roca the Fox?
Yeah, so that's the one I've been looking at.
Okay. I think just for the viewers, I guess we should like read it. I'll read it. Um,
Sure.
as much as this is obviously not recommended. I want you guys to see 20.3 hours on record. I don't know how long it would take for somebody to necessarily be good or dependable on reliable information on a fighting game, but for me 20.3 hours doesn't really strike it because that's like if you buckle down and took like some days off, this is like 4 or 5 days of playing, and I just don't think you could
Right.
get.
You have to like stretch it out over the 5 months that this game has, been released. I think that's a big factor too. A lot of these people have like less than 60 hours, and the 5 months that the game has been out, yeah.
Yeah, so this one actually was posted October 13th. October 13th, 20.3 hours. So it is November 8th. So they played this game like a month ago. Possibly, if you stretch it out like a couple hours a day, that's why I say like 5 days, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
5 days. I'll give them even a week. They played a couple hours for like a week at a time, and then they just said, no, I'm not going to play it. I don't think they really learned
Yeah.
shit. And honestly, if they did it, if they were playing this in October, they got smacked around by me and Jaxvex. I'm just going to keep it 55th
I
Street
also
with you.
want to point out too, a lot of these October reviews were probably because I think that's around the time that CEO Otaku was going on, and that's when they made the announcement for the December patch. So I think a lot of people were like expecting something big to come out of
In
that, and when they
October?
were told that they had to wait till, yeah, I think that's when it was.
No,
And
I
when people were
believe.
told that they had to wait until December, they were like getting pissed, and that's when they just started flooding the reviews.
I think it was like earlier than that. I want to say September. Let me just go to my YouTube real
Oh,
quick.
yeah, it might have been. It might have been.
Yeah.
I think something. I thought so. Oh wait, but they posted that image, the 100-day celebration. I think that was on their Twitter. It was in October 5th. I think that's when that was.
September 25th is when they announced the updates.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, we gotta get into this review. It's my fault.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to rate this game as negative, it's too hard to ignore at this point. Let's just cut to the chase. This game now feels like it was a Nexon slash Neopol advertisement to play their online dungeon crawler. Well, okay. I need to just read the whole thing, and I'm going to touch back on all this shit with Jaxvex. Where the
Yeah.
game itself is extremely creative with an absurd number of characters to choose from, each with 4 to 5 different subtypes to choose from. It's hard for me to fathom why ArcSys didn't go all out and start including DLC from the start for characters with a season pass, or just expand the roster. Oh man, this is a big one. All right, male gunner.
It is so hard to like hold it in. There's so many things that are wrong. But I'm gonna let you keep going.
Well, here's the thing. We're gonna go over it paragraph by paragraph. How's that? I'm almost finished with the first one. Male gunner alone has way better variations to choose from than going the easy route and putting in ranger, which while flashy and technical like in the actual game, can't compare to if they put something in like Spitfire, where the elemental ammo, grenades, and other gadgets they use could have made a really interesting impact. The character feel like their class, but certain ones, Vanguard especially, feel like they were intentionally ignored to cater to the other characters. So, can I go first, or do you want me to go first on this?
You can start.
Okay, so I don't agree with this is an advertisement to play their online dungeon crawler. That's one thing. Now, have they been doing some suspicious advertisements on their page? Like, yeah, they like flat out lied to us on Twitter and told us to follow Dungeon Fighter Online Twitter instead of DNF, not instead of DNF Duel, but alongside DNF Duel to get other updates. And I had to unfollow because they weren't like posting anything. So I half agree with this, but it's like, in terms of a fighting game, no, they've been doing everything like other fighting game creators. I'm sorry, creators. Other fighting game publishers have been doing. You know what I mean? And this is their first fighting game, and DNF is heavily inspired by fighting games. So as a matter of fact, there was a Project Overkill trailer and another DFO project trailer that came out yesterday, and they were using music from DNF Duel. You know what I mean? Like, they want to advertise all their stuff. It just seems like a weird critique to me. And then there's this, I promise I'm going to let you get to it. So he says the game, or he or she, whatever, they maybe, they say that the game is extremely creative. But that's where I'm like, kind of like, okay, if it's so extremely creative, what exactly is the problem here? Like, you understand where I'm coming from? Like, and this each, what is this? Each with 4 to 5 different subtypes to choose from. What are you talking about? Like, there's only like, at the most, any class there is in DNF Duel has like 2 subtypes. You know what I mean? You have the Slayers, which is Ghostblade and Berserker, and you have the Agents, which is Hitman and Troubleshooter. There's no 5 other subtypes of those characters in the game, so I don't know what game this motherfucker was playing. You know what I mean?
He was playing the DLC apparently.
Yeah, but I've had a lot of time on this. Did you want to go ahead and go in?
Yeah, so I'm just going to go back to that first point of this game being a advertisement. You hear that talking point a lot with, both the critics of this game, but also people who did give it a chance and just got fed up with, the developers just being radio silent for so long. And I can understand how that is frustrating. Lack of communication from them really does make you wonder, like, okay, well, we didn't really get a roadmap from this game, and we don't know where it's going. Like, are they gonna tell us anything? But I don't agree with it being an advertisement because, first of all, if this is an advertisement, it's a very poor advertisement for DFO. Like, this game in no way really made me want to go and play DFO. It made me like interested in it to see the source material, but I didn't, play this game for like over 500 hours and think to myself, you know what? I feel like I'm just going to go play Dungeon Fighter Online now. I'm just going to drop this fighting game and go play an MMO. Like, what? That's a very large leap in logic there.
May I cut in?
That. Yeah.
Just real quick. So before this game actually launched, what got me interested was it was another MMO or RPG type game that was going to be turn into a fighting game like Persona. So if anything, I think most people, if they were going to play the original DFO, would have played it from the get-go once they heard that it was like a spinoff of that type of game. Like me and my friends, you know what I mean? We dove into that game and we gained an appreciation for it. But this whole shit about after, I don't know about all of that. But please continue.
Yeah, that makes no sense at all. That because, like you said, they're not tricking people and linking to Dungeon Fighter Online through their Twitter or having any sort of announcements be pointing to DFO. Everything revolving around the advertisement of this game has been focused on DNF.
Right.
The most they might say is like, hey, we're having, because they host, I think December events for, everything DFO in general. So they might have been hinting at that for DNF news, but in no way in the marketing at any point since this game has released have they been trying to push people to play DFO. That is completely false, and it's nowhere in the game to even suggest to you, hey, you should go play DFO. That's something that you have to come to your own conclusion.
Yeah, there's no link.
Yeah. For me, I don't see how people are even coming up with this point. Like, DNF has not made me want to go out and play DFO. I've played it once just because I was interested in my character and I wanted to see the source material. I wanted to see the differences between how she plays in the MMO versus DNF, how they translated a lot of her moves, because I was really curious to see, okay, well, what else does she have, or why does this move do that? I think I was on the Discord, the Reddit Discord, and people were talking about, Launcher's flamethrower, and DFO is 0 on block or something. I'm like, what? It's 0 because in DNF it's minus as fuck. It's minus 13, which is horrible. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. If that move is 0 on block and they translated that from DFO, that would actually be busted because that move goes far. So I did get more of an appreciation of why they did the things that they did. I still think it should have cancel options for when you do use it up close, and you don't want to be there like, oh shit, I messed up. I used flamethrower half, not even half screen, but just within most characters 5A range, and now I'm going to get punished for it. Like, I at least they wish they would give you something to get out of that situation. But right. I understand also why it's not 0 on block, because that would be obnoxious.
Right. Yeah, and just get back to this review here. Let's see. It's hard for me to fathom why Arxis didn't go all out and start including DLC from the start. So here's
that's my next point too. I'll let you talk, but that's
well, we can both talk on it. How about this? Let's bounce off each other with this point, because I want to go back to this sentence here, and people are going to see me highlight it here. Where the game itself is extremely creative, I don't see why Arxis didn't go all out and start including DLC from the start. Okay, so if the game is extremely creative, that means that there's some things that obviously you have to figure out, and there's some things that you might not know. There's some things I didn't know. Like the third month into DNF Duel, me and my friend were playing. He plays Crusader. I know. He plays Crusader. He does jumping B to me, and then he conversion cancels in there and does jumping B again. That was the first time I seen somebody do that, if I remember correctly. And I was like, you know what, that makes sense. Since this game doesn't have overheads, you can basically trick somebody, because you could jump into the air, and if your normal is big enough, you can just go ahead and conversion cancel, and they might be ducking.
Into an instant overhead.
Right, exactly. And I've seen something like with Berserker, but he jumps and he does conversion cancel. I never thought of doing a move, then conversion canceling in the air. That's just one of those things that happens in DNF Duel that, is really creative, and you don't think of 20 hours in. I was obviously 100 or so hours in when I learned about that tech. But, it's just weird to me how everybody keeps talking about DLC characters and a roadmap. I get it. I understand that a roadmap is something that you get quite often these days, but there used to be a time not too long ago, and in the past, the recent past, where games would launch and there wouldn't be DLC, and you would just have to get the next new version of the game. You know what I mean?
I always remember the prime example of that was
Street Fighter 4.
But prime example of that, Street Fighter 4, but also Marvel versus Capcom 3. I remember
Persona 4.
When that game came out, I bought it, and I was excited to play. I couldn't really get any of my friends to play it with me, but at least I bought the game. I had the latest Marvel versus Capcom in my hands. I could jump back into it, train up. Anytime I wanted to, I could get into the game.
Yeah.
Only to find out that not even a year, it was 6 months later that they released Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with new characters and a new balance. So it basically, 6 months later, they invalidated your purchase that you made for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that pissed me off so much. I didn't get into the game afterward. I refused to pay for the game again after I just bought a version of the game that's now obsolete. Because now they have Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That made me so mad.
Well, yeah, there's that, and there's also games like Street Fighter Cross Tekken where the DLC was on disc the entire time.
That made me mad too.
And Capcom didn't say anything until like a month or so after they got their top blown off. No, it wasn't even like a month because I played Street Fighter Cross Tekken longer than that. They didn't mention that shit for like a long time, and then they're like Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2014, I think it was. Which you could just download the DLC, but they never talked about a map, and the motherfuckers are already on the disc. And that's not the only game that they've done that with. They've done it with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite with Venom and Black Panther, if I remember correctly. Which, I'm not gonna shit on like those games again. Like I've said all my piece about those games, but I say all this to say that not too long ago, like games would just release and you wouldn't have a mention of DLC. Dragon Ball Fighters, if I remember correctly, I don't remember there being there was a Season Pass 1, but they didn't immediately tell us about Season Pass 2. Like some time had to like boil over. Tekken, I don't believe, told us about a season pass until like a couple months later. You know what I mean? Like we got Eliza and we got the promise of no. It was Eliza. We got Eliza, Akuma. They didn't say shit about Geese, if I remember correctly, until like months later.
See, a lot of those characters for Tekken, like after the initial DLC that they did announce, after that it was pretty much just like impromptu, like. Oh, you know what? Let's release this for Tekken. Oh, let's release like every time a new Tekken character would come out for DLC, I'll be like, what? They're putting new in Tekken? It's almost like they were just doing it to drum up interest because nobody would have saw that coming. Like, what was his name? From Walking Dead. Is it Negan?
Yeah.
I think it was Negan. Yeah, Negan, yeah. Noctis. Like, what the fuck? Where did these guys come from? Was that ever planned out? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, and I don't think Samurai Showdown did it, and I want to say KOF 15 did it really fast after launch, or they might have just went ahead and said that there was going to be a season or whatever. But I don't.
Same with Soul Calibur too. Soul Calibur 6.
Like, they didn't say nothing.
2B. Yeah, 2B was just random out there too. Nobody knew that 2B was going to come to Soul Calibur.
Bro, Bandai Namco said, damn, who was the very first character? So Tira was like controversial because I think she was like a pre-order free character, and then she'd be DLC for everybody that didn't pre-order. Kind of like how Tekken Tag 2 did, but their characters were free anyway. Tira was free, and for like months, nothing happened. And then I think, 2B came out, and then they're like, "Hey, season 1." They did a fucking Dave Chappelle smile on us. They're like, season 1. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, like I'm so over like the DLC, the chatter behind that because we talked about like the DLC already a little bit, but I like to make that like a separate video if you wouldn't mind about the DLC because hey guys, if you're interested in DLC and you've listened so far, just check out another video I'm going to upload. We've talked about it a little bit, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. But I don't think from this first paragraph, unless you had anything else to add, I don't think there's much more to talk about besides the fact this person wants like different characters from DNF.
So the other big thing that I want to, because they're saying a lot of like talking points that people just copy and paste.
Parrot.
One of them being, this is just an advertisement for DFO, which we already talked about. That's not true. Second is they put all the blame on Arxis when they don't even realize that the main developer for this game is not Arxis, it's 80, which is the developer for Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Which everybody
so a lot of
sucks,
people
yes.
they compare this to Guilty Gear, to Dragon Ball Fighters, and they're thinking, oh well, why didn't Arxis do like they did with Fighters, or why didn't they do like they did with Guilty Gear or Persona or Blaze Blue? And they don't understand Arxis isn't the main developer here. They just helped with So let me read this because somebody actually described it pretty well in one of the forum posts. This comes from GTCV Dimos. He says, side note, DNF is barely an Arxis game. Lazy game journalists always name-checked Arxis when bothering to cover DNF Duel, and I'm sure it's because DNF has Arxis' signature animation style. But Aiding is the primary developer. Arxis just did character modeling and animation. This detail isn't widely publicized, but sitting through the game credits makes it clear who is responsible for what. Which, that makes a lot of sense. You could always just watch the credits if you want to see who actually did everything.
Right. Well, just to cut in real quick. So Arxis, not only did they do that, but they also supervise the project. So,
right.
Yeah, so I don't know how much involvement they have when it comes to that type of thing. But honestly, to me, it feels like comparable to like a slower paced Blaze Blue personally. That's how I feel. But I do understand your frustration with that. I feel like that since they do supervise it, they might have some say in some things, the same way that Bandai Namco supervised Dragon Ball Fighters, but we know it was Arxis. You know what I mean?
I think really the big decision maker is Nexon here. They're the ones who are actually responsible for everything that's going on. They have the final say. So
I think
it's kind of unfair for people to put a lot of this on Arxis when Nexon and Aiding. It's those two motherfuckers that are really responsible for everything that people hate about this game right now.
Yeah, when I asked for an early copy because I was doing so much free publicity and shit, I went to Neopol and they told me to ask Nexon, and Arxis told me to ask Nexon too, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they decide what characters go into the game and how it's advertised. And if you ever looked at their live streams for DNF, the OG, I'm not necessarily certain that they're the best at it, which I understand. People aren't happy with the way the game's being advertised or how it's being shown off. But honestly, dude, just the way I feel about that is just fucking play the game. Watch people play the game, see how much fun they're having, and believe them, they're having fun. I wish I had that picture pulled up of you and that. What was that tweet that you seen? Where motherfuckers
those two guys.
Yeah, one guy said the game was dead. The other guy said that, and when you do get matches, it's somebody who smacks you around. And it's bro, you guys are talking right through each other. You replied to his tweet, and you motherfuckers don't say, hey, you want to play or anything. Only thing we get out of these two posts is dead game, and I still play, but yeah, fuck this game, because I get beat up.
Right.
Yeah, I hated that.
Right, exactly.
But, I kind of want to go to the second paragraph. Are you still want to talk about something in the first, or?
I had something that I wanted to say, but it just
I interrupted. My bad.
We might. That's fine. We might as well just keep rolling. I'll remember it later.
Probably. Well, I'll tell you what. If we get back to it, just interrupt me, and we'll get back on that. But here we go. Second paragraph. The fact that there isn't air dashing makes dealing with range normals that cross the
God. I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to let you go, but people in this fucking air dash, it just annoys me so much. But yeah, keep going.
Yo, I'm mad that this motherfucker said all that, but when we went to oh my goodness, because it says TE H. I hate when people say the like that. Cross the arena. Incredibly difficult to deal with, especially playing characters that have extremely unreliable range attacks like Inquisitor. Shut the fuck up. Vanguard or Grappler. What? Okay.
Yes.
This is
exactly.
wait,
right.
this is one of the most helpful reviews. That's what it says. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. People, are you stupid?
I gotta continue. It took them well over 2 months to deal with the incredibly broken characters that were the meta in every tournament. Well, they barely even dealt with them, dude. Swiftmaster's still the same, but they haven't given anything to the characters that really need it. Who? 2 months for a patch that only addressed 3 characters makes a League of Legends misguided and terrible patches sorry. No, that's what he says. Terrible patches notes look balanced and refreshing. This is why I get tongue tied, because I read shit like this on the internet all the time. And I'm like, I start talking like them. But
Right.
but do you want to disavow this first, or like how do you want to go about
Oh
this?
my god, I have to say something about
Go ahead,
that, 'cause
brother.
this has been on my mind for days. Like I've read through this review multiple times already, so I was kind of already fried from this. And
Get
the
'em.
fucking air dash,
Go
man.
get 'em.
So what people don't understand is, first of all, they have an issue with no air blocking in this game, right? But these motherfuckers will go and play Blaze Blue and Persona and not realize that it's the same issue there. In Blaze Blue, I'm pretty sure this is how it works. You can't block ground normals from the air unless you're using barrier, which is a resource.
It
In
depends.
Persona,
It depends
Okay,
on the
and,
attack. It's like Guilty Gear. It depends on the attack. But go ahead.
yeah, and Persona Arena, every character has a dedicated anti-air that is air unblockable. You cannot block it in the air. And Under Night, you can't block anything in the air in that game. You got to respect it, unless
Unless it's a special
well,
move. I think.
it's a special move, or
That's not a
because
DP.
it also depends, because there are some stuff, like Hilda, she has some moves that are just gigantic and would not be fair. Like I think her charged 5C, or is it no? It might just be her charge 5C. I think you could block that. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But there are examples of this where air blocking is not allowed, and for some reason, people are focusing on this game as if it was the first ever game to take away air blocking, and they're like, "Oh, the balance is shit because you can't air block in this game, but every other fighting game in existence you can air block." No, you can't, motherfucker. There are tons of examples of games that people love where there's no air blocking or very limited air blocking. I don't understand people's mindset.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if like you remember like blocking with barrier in the air in games like Blaze Blue or Faultless Defense and Guilty Gear, even a more recent example, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, like there's no air blocking in that game, and this goes along with what I said in a previous thing that we talked about. There should be some more defensive options to help with the offensive options that some characters have, but I don't necessarily think that you need to be able to block in the air. Then there's no
exactly. That's just a tactic that I don't know how to deal with this move. I don't understand it, so I'm just gonna say what I want, but not even try to like find counterplay to this one thing that's giving me trouble. I think that's a lot of what people's mindset is when it comes to the balance or mechanics of this game. Is this character is doing this thing, I don't know how to get around it, I'm just going to say whatever I think would help me in this case.
Well, the thing I think of when I think of people like this is I feel like they're the type of person, like, if there's a shootout, they'll, like, have a gun, and they'll, like, jump. Instead of, like, getting behind cover, they're going to jump and try and block their face while shooting at the same time. Like, dude, there's not an option for everything that's going to, like, work for you specifically. Like, you're going to have to, like, learn how to deal with the situation. And you know what? I'm not going to say to their credit because this person seems like off kilter. I'll say this, like I said, there's some options that in this game that drive me nuts. I don't like Swiftmaster 6 S. It still drives me crazy. I know it got nerfed, but I still, when at the right range, you can't jump over it, and you can't air dash unless you're Dragon Knight, you know. And Dragon Knight,
Yeah,
if you
it's like
give
you
her,
just have to wait. You have to wait for it.
yeah, and if you give people access to air dash like Dragon Knight has, it takes a special ability away from that character. And plus, everybody's gonna be busted. I don't want to see Kunoichi with air dash. I already see her with a double jump.
Yeah. See, and I was thinking about that too. I think the thing that people want for air dash is that they want, it's a clutch. They want some kind of easy way to just skip neutral. You could think of it as similar to Dragon Ball Fighters and the Super Dash problem. People don't want to play neutral. They just want to be right in your face and it's their turn and that's it, And that's kind of what air dash is to a lot of people in anime fighters. It's just a way for them to just jump over everything and get in. That's all they want. They don't want to play neutral.
That's true. I'll say that. I'll say that I agree with you on that, but also I'll say that I don't know if it's necessarily to skip neutral in terms of air dash. I'll say that it's to like make it short, like cut out a lot of. They want to cut out a lot of the vulnerabilities that come with having to space people on the ground. Is what they want to do.
Yeah. And what people don't realize though is that same concept of wanting to just kind of like skip it a little bit and get yourself closer in a short amount of time, all of that still exists in this game, and it's in the form of the dodge roll. Like, people don't understand, against projectile characters, rolling is a very strong answer because your roll is invulnerable from like frame 3 or 4, I think, all the way to, I gotta look at Deathloop, like the later frames of it, but you have a lot of projectile invincibility to the point where Launcher's 5B, the one move that she has that's minus on block, you can't cancel it into any special moves or anything. Like, once you use it, that's it, and it does very little damage. The only upside to it, I think, is the fact that she regenerates a lot of mana off of it. Mm-hmm. But if you were to initiate a dodge roll and she were to use her 5B, which, I don't know how familiar people are going to be with it, but that's a long move. That has some long active frames. You could dodge through the entire move, right, and just be in front of her and be safe. That's how powerful dodging is in this game.
Right, and
a lot of people don't understand that.
No, they don't. They don't. And I just want to touch on this real quick. The horrible phrasing going on here. 2 months for a patch that only addressed 3 characters makes League of Legends misguided and terrible patches notes look balanced and refreshing. For I've said this before, but can you guys shut the fuck up about this fucking 2-month patch already? Like, honestly, I've never seen a fighting game get patched within 2 months that's had like crazy results. Like, the craziest thing I ever remember is very specific. Tekken Tag 2. I know I bring it up a lot. It's my favorite game. But Tekken Tag 2, Kunimitsu, they had to patch the character because when she originally came out with the game, she could duck some mids. I don't know what those mids were, but she was able to duck some mids. If you don't know about Tekken, when you duck, you're supposed to be able to get hit by mids. You're vulnerable to mids. That's the whole point of doing mids to a character that's ducking. So being able to duck mids is a bad thing. To me, that's like the most extreme. That
sounds stupid.
It is stupid, but to me, that's like the most extreme change because it feel like, you had to go back in and make sure you matched the character to 50 characters move lists and made sure that every single mid counts. To me, that's what I consider extreme. But the shit that happened with Guilty Gear wasn't really that crazy, if you ask me. I remember Anji getting patched when what the fuck is his name? Gold Lewis came out. That shit wasn't that great for him, from what I remember. I remember people saying they said he was a bad character, and they patched him into being a less bad character that's still bad. And that's kind of like what's going on here. They patched some of the best characters to being less of the best characters, but they're still the best. You know what I mean? If you're gonna
and
go ahead.
That's kind of what this the patch was, right? Similar to not being able to crouch mids. That's crazy that I think about it. But Swiftmaster was similar in that case. This dude was literally, he had no weaknesses. His damage was overtuned. His frame data was just bonkers. It was ridiculous. Like, his frame data is still pretty good, but it was ridiculous of how much he just got away with. And it's like, they really just sat back and thought, okay, well, that's our fault. We didn't actually mean for him to be this overpowered. So we're just going to tune him down a little bit, make him in line with the rest of the cast so that people can have fun the way that we intended to play the game. And then Swiftmaster Maze felt like they fucking destroyed the character, made him bottom one. It's like, no, they just made him an actual character in this game.
Yeah.
Not just like some cheat mode.
The worst thing about Swiftmaster is he can still do his strongest BNB. He can still do his strongest BNB, and maybe he can't be as creative, but like, if you want to be creative and like take other risks, then just lose a little bit more meter, because for some reason his best BNB uses less meter than his more creative shit. But it is what it is for Swiftmaster. Like, I still think that people that talked about that shit, like, they're just being ridiculous. Like, your character is still intact. What do you They are. Yeah. Like, what do you...
Or Striker Main's complaining about her one nerf, which was just taking away the ability to have a gapless guard break sequence off of her DP, and then making it so that you can DP that second hit of her DP. That didn't destroy her at all. She's still essentially the same character. They're just, again, they're bringing her in line to make her fit her archetype.
She still has... The thing is...
To make her...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, she still has a gapless guard break. She just can't use the DP, and it's like, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Like when I said Squat was saying that they nerfed the character and she's like not cerebral anymore, or whatever the fuck that means. And I'm like, yo, she still can do all this crazy shit. You just can't get away with doing a DP and then doing something else immediately and getting out of jail free. So the fuck what? You're not supposed to be able to get out of a DP.
Yeah, I mean, and strikers have found new guard break routes. Like,
exactly.
It's not like she lost that ability. She has new stuff that's been discovered that doesn't rely on, the DP into Tatsu. Like,
right.
That was just stupid. I remember I used to do stuff like that in the beta with Striker, and I thought that was fucking ridiculous. I was fighting a grappler player, which is like one of his worst matchups with Striker.
Yeah.
And I was like tuned in on his stream, and like I was doing it, and he was getting so mad at that.
Right.
I understand his frustration, but he was also kind of taking it out on me, and I was like trying to talk to him, but you know how you get in that mindset of,
like, no,
character's bullshit. No. You're also bullshit.
You're bullshit. Yeah, no, you're stupid.
This guy, he actually deleted the VOD afterwards, so nobody could go back and watch it. That's how bad it was.
Right. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna pause it here in a second because I gotta put some clothes in the dryer. But I see this review off to the side that's just a thumbs down with 0.9 hours, and it says "Don't waste your time." Fuck you, you idiot.
Hey, you know what? That's probably what people will listen to. It's ridiculous.
Right. I just put it as not helpful. But real quick, let me put some clothes in the dryer. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're recording again. I forget where we were at, but you definitely ripped into that Nate Mate 1X person that said, "Don't waste your time."
Yeah, don't waste your time because the game is dead. Why is the game dead? Because nobody wants to play it. Why does nobody want to play it? Because the game is dead.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, you got motherfuckers like this with these dumbass reviews that aren't really like sensical in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually ready to go on to like the next paragraph if you are. I didn't realize this shit was going to be so fucking long.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot to, and it's important to like hit every point because for some reason a lot of people think this is helpful and they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know. But we pretty much addressed everything in the second one.
Yeah, let me just skim through really quick again. I think I might have had something else.
While you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and say this too. Saying that Inquisitor has unreliable range attacks and Vanguard as well is like some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Like how the fuck?
Yeah.
Like Inquisitor has like some of the most reliable range attacks. Like if you use jumping M with Inquisitor in the air, which encompasses like most of the screen when she's alive and up and well, like that shit will hit you. Like if you're anywhere near her. And
Yeah,
even
I think a lot of people don't realize, like, don't look at the hitbox and hurtbox for that. Her hurtbox shrinks so small, and the hitbox around that move is so large.
she's like an aerial DP.
You really have to DP through it. Yeah, you have to DP through it in order to hit her, because you need those invincibility frames just long enough. Like, so the thing with that move is it does move her forward, so it does make it easier for her to fall into somebody's DP. But if you try to do anything else other than DP,
go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but it's like the thing is, there's nobody's DP that has that much invulnerability to wait for that shit to get to you, depending on when she starts that motherfucker. If she starts at the tip, then you're getting hit. Like unless you're Vanguard, maybe because of the nature of his DP, but everybody else is getting hit.
Yeah, Launcher has a pretty good time DPing it too, but there's a caveat, right? So if she jumps up high in the air and tries to do it at the peak of her jump, then it's easier for me to just sit there, because like I said, the move does push her forward a little bit, so she just kind of falls right into Launcher's DP. Mm-hmm. But if she is like TKing it, for anybody who doesn't know, that's Tiger Knee, using a move as close as you can to the ground, that's when it becomes actually almost impossible to hit her, because that will low crush a lot of moves like Launcher's 5A or her 2A. If you do it far enough, Launcher's 5A, kind of goes diagonal towards the ground. So one of her biggest weaknesses is that people can just jump over her fastest buttons and punish her in the air for free. And Inquisitor can just TK JM and punish her instantly, because it puts her over Launcher's 5A, which is like, she can't hit any higher than that. The game did not give her anything else to hit higher than her 5A, so it's like, how is she supposed to stop that? Round start, Inquisitor can just TK JM, Launcher can't do anything but DP that.
Right.
And that's if she recognizes that she is going to do it, because you can't just wait and react to it when it's that low to the ground. You need to act immediately, or you need to block.
Right.
Your only choice is, get hit.
Right, and also going to Vanguard, which they were talking about. Vanguard has some of the best footsies in the game, so I'm just going to fully ignore that shit. And let's talk about Grappler. Hey, newsflash, Grappler isn't a ranged fighter. Grappler is meant to get in close, which he has several moves that help him do that. And that would be his neutral M, which you can angle forward, which goes further and pretty much skips over a lot of enemies. And if they get touched in the air, that's some more damage. And if you have meter, that's like hell of a lot of damage. And then you have his 6M, which is specifically meant to go through projectiles, and it also has armor. So I don't want to hear no shit about Grappler not having good range.
Then you have the conversion layer on top of that, right? His neutral 5M, you don't have to touch the ground. You could just use it to get yourself positioned in the air, convert, and then fall off a button. It's insane. You could fall and even do his JM, which is like his air grab that does a shit ton of damage. Like,
yeah, exactly. But that's the best I have with that. Like I have nothing more in the second paragraph to address.
Yeah, and that also is like a telling sign that a lot of people, all these people, 270 people found this review useful. That's 270 people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because he's sitting here talking about characters that have issues that are non-existent. He doesn't understand the actual balance of this game.
Right, I can't believe that. I didn't even see that. 270 people found this review helpful. That's interesting.
Yep. 270 people have no idea, and they're just like, oh yeah, this guy is kind of saying everything that fits my bias, so I'm just going to agree with this. No.
This was made October 13th, within a month. This has been made like within a month and only has 20.3 hours on record. So 270 people looked at this game and they were looking at the reviews, and like a lot of people seen this review and they're like, yeah, that helps me out. I'm not going to buy this game then. And this is why the game.
Right. They're like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously he doesn't, but they're like, wow, 20 hours and he wrote all this text. He must know what he's talking about. He has no idea.
Like you said earlier, there's what was it? People are saying the game is dead. Why are people saying the game is dead? Because nobody's playing. Why is nobody playing? Because people fucking say the game is dead, and also because they shit on the game. You know what I mean? Like, why would you? Why would you write this fucking review knowing that, you know, all these motherfuckers are just gonna gang up and fucking start parroting this shit? One person said this shit was a hot take. The other person said deep thoughts. I don't know if this is sarcastic or anything. I'm new to Steam reviews. And some person put mind blown. Human brains aren't ready for this much awesomeness. Whoa, that's crazy.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's what people think.
Somebody needs to put a clown.
How do I put a clown? I would if I could. I don't know how to. Do I go to award?
I think you could award it. Yeah, I think you could just award it if you have enough points. You can put a clown. That's what this deserves, honestly.
Yeah,
this is a clown ass review.
I want to clown everybody who said this shit was helpful. But moving on to the third paragraph, I think we're ready. The devs recently came out and said that they have a large patch plan, but it's worth saying that it's unclear if this is okay, here's crossplay, and one final balance patch. Oh my god. I'm just I'm at a loss for words already. I don't want to finish this. Thanks for playing. We're done. Or if it's here's a balance patch, crossplay, and announcements for new characters and game modes. A lot is riding on this patch announcement, and it's still unclear when this patch is even going to come out. But in December, stupid. But what is clear is that this is the final chance that Nexon / Neopol / Arxis / you should put /aiding too, idiot. All have to make this game more than just an advertisement. That is so fucking stupid. Going back to advertising, I don't want to cover that again. I hope you don't.
I know. We already talked about it in late. Nobody needs to listen to that play. If anybody starts with this game is just an advertisement, ignore everything they say after that point because they're just stupid.
Yeah, or just rewind this video. Should the announcement be something spectacular like Spectre, and the patch notes actually make the game great, I'll change this review. Till then, unfortunately, this game is dead, and it's looking like it's going to stay that way. I want to dig into this like really fast, bro. Let me talk about this shit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, there's a lot to talk about here, and I'll try and leave some room for you and stuff. But okay, so this whole here's crossplay and one final balance patch. Like, bro, here's the thing. Crossplay, I understand that's a new push. It was rollback for the past couple years, you know what I mean? And rollback, I'm glad rollback went through because rollback really has improved the fighting game space. But stop harassing these devs over shit like this, man. Stop harassing the devs over crossplay. Like, look, let me tell you something. Though the PlayStation players on this game are great, it's not anymore alive on there. That's one thing. And it'd be nice to have crossplay. I don't think it's necessary. I hope they do it, but that's not something that should bring people back. That makes no sense to me. Like, that's just saying that
crossplay is not going to save it.
Yeah, like, if you don't like the gameplay, what the fuck does crossplay have to do with anything? Like, people mention crossplay like it's the balance patch that's going to bring 10 characters or something. But I hate that shit. Like, it's fine to want it, but what the fuck does this have to do with anything? And then, look, this whole one final balance patch, that's so stupid. When the fuck has a game came out within the past decade that had 2 balance patches? What the fuck?
Right, and that's
when's the last game that's done that?
They're like, okay, yeah, they're like, okay, we're gonna tone these characters down, then we're gonna buff everybody, and then that's it. Thank you for buying our game. We're done. What?
Yeah, and they have their fucking after sex cigarette after they fucking put that final patch out. Like, what the fuck? What do these people think? 270 people thought this shit was fire and a hot take. Yo, thanks for playing. We're done. Or here's a balance patch and crossplay announcements for new characters and game modes. A lot is writing like, yeah, dude, we are waiting for characters. We are waiting for a balance patch. Like, you're not saying anything. Like, of course, that's what anybody waits for. Is this person's first fighting game? Like, bro, we've been doing this shit for years with every fighting game. Like, yeah, you have to wait a little bit longer. Like, I suppose we can talk to Nexon about that, but honestly, I don't really want to fucking have to like deal with this pettiness all the fucking time. You know, I don't deal with it anywhere else. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't understand this.
I would just love to see these people, because these people obviously don't realize that, you know, this is Nexon and 80 really that were behind a lot of this. I just would love to see how they handle the, like I said earlier, going from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That, to me, was actually something to be mad about.
That's why
you spent $60 twice, and the first game that you bought is completely obsolete. Nobody's playing it anymore. Balance is different. Characters are different. You can't use that game. You can't use that version anymore. It's just done.
That's why I didn't buy Ultimate until it was like on sale, $15 for the PS4 version. Like, and my friend had to convince me to get that shit because I didn't. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? I like Dante more than Virgil anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Like this whole review is a headache because it's like everything wrong with DNF Duel right now. So start out 20 hours on record. The motherfucker has like no experience, like no like real healthy advice on the game. Nothing. There's nothing salvageable from this at all. Like like this motherfucker has like so many like misconceptions from like the advertisement to like you know, not being able to dodge somebody like Ranger's fucking projectiles, even though his shit is like mildly easy to dodge, and it's not like, you know, you get punished super hard. Some motherfuckers acting like it's Dragon Ball Fighters and somebody does a Kamehameha and there's no way to avoid it, and you get counterattacked. You know what I mean? And you get counterattacked on that fucking game, and you get fucking full combos done to you. Motherfuckers will go into sparking.
Your character gets deleted.
Yeah, if they got the right team composition, they'll go into sparking and fucking kill you. I know, it's happened to me, and I've done it to other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. But I can't really say much more about this review other than it's stupid, and I can't believe 270 people thought this was alright. You know?
Yeah, and my biggest worry is that, you know, public perception is a big part of why this game is, you know, doing as poorly as it is right now. And I don't want Nexing, aiding, Arxis, I don't want them to look at all this and be focused on the wrong things. I really want them, and it sounds like they're not giving in. Like, good on them to just like ignore all the noise and realize that most of these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and listen to the people who are actually asking them for things that are valid and would fix the game. Because to have something like this just out in front and to see so many people supporting it, I just don't want them to focus on that. I think that's actually the problem when it's not.
Right. Let's go to something, I guess, a little bit more refreshing. So the next review from Lucky SE is really short and sweet. Sick ass fighting game abandoned by its devs like an unwanted newborn outside a fire station. Very disappointing, man. You know, they thought they were hilarious there. I'm gonna go ahead and not really react to this because I don't know if 158 people found this helpful, but this review was done in October, and they said in September that they were
post the announcement.
What's that?
It was post the announcement.
Yeah, post the announcement of the DLC, right? Yeah, because September they announced it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not helpful. It's positive, but I think it's like, dude, stop. Like, since 158 people saw this fucking shit, they think that this won't be supported anymore. You know? Like, nobody thinks that this game will have fucking DLC.
October.
Yeah,
they're like, it's October, and this was just last month, and what? They're not supporting it anymore? It's dead? This game just came out.
Yeah, somebody.
It's feeding into that, you know, perpetual cycle I was talking about. The game is dead. Why is the game dead? Because people won't play it. Why won't people play it? Because the game is dead. This is the shit that I'm talking about, where people see this and they're like, "Oh, it's a dead game. I'm not going to play it." Instead of actually playing it and realizing that the game is fun and interesting, and that it wouldn't be dead if more people just, stopped and thought for themselves and went out and, just tried it for themselves. Don't listen to these people. Just try the game for yourself. If you don't like it, you can refund it. But at least give it a try. Don't just go off of somebody else's word.
Right. Holy shit, man. This shit is just... It's depressing, because... people think this game is fucking finished. They just think it's done. Even though there's a fucking announcement. Also, let me give this guy a clown. I gave the other guy a clown.
Let me do that too.
The next one is by a guy named Jew, which is very mature. JOO. 0.6 hours on record. Not recommended. Let me go ahead and read this one.
Oh my god. This
motherfucker played for... How much is that? What is 0.6 hours? It's not 6 minutes, is it?
No, it's probably close to maybe over 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of it from a different perspective. That is over half.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Oh man, that's 40 minutes. This motherfucker spent 40 minutes and said not recommended. On a fighting game.
So dumb.
On a fighting game. I spent 40 minutes on this game. It's not good. Let's
right. Let's get into the reasons.
Yeah. I'm sorry. October 12th was when it was posted. In many ways, the game is well made, but the core of the game is its online play and player base is all but dead. And the player base is all but dead, and it seems like the game will not be getting any substantial new content anytime soon. You fucking idiot.
There we go again.
Yeah.
There we go again.
It's another fucking person. If this game was around $15 and $20, I'd say it might be worth picking up. But for $50, it's seriously overpriced for what will effectively be a couple shallow single player modes and fighting against bots. What? Guilty Gear Strive is $10 less than this game, has significantly more content, actual support from developers, and a healthy player base. This review is not... You go ahead, bro.
So the thing about that, right, on the forums, people have been sort of parroting the same thing, where because the game recently went on sale for 40%, they feel like it's not enough, and I will give people the benefit of a doubt. Regional pricing for this game is pretty absurd when you look at other countries. I wouldn't want to pay that much either.
Southern America. Southern America, Central America got fucked. I don't know why. It's the price of two games, evidently.
But this guy, he's saying that if it was around $15 to $20, he said it might be worth it. He still wouldn't play it if he got it for free. But say if it was around $15 to $20 and that 50 is too much, obviously he's working with USD here. That is not overpriced for a fighting game at launch. So the thread is deleted now. I can't even go back and see what people were saying.
They're ashamed of
themselves. They were saying that. Yeah, they were saying that $50. I think the mods deleted it because it just got way too stupid.
Yeah, they got ashamed of themselves too.
People are at one point, $50 is too much, and I was asking them, I was okay, well, if $50 is too much, what's an acceptable price for you? You know what these motherfuckers said? One of them was this game should be $17. That's what Tekken 7 and all its DLC is right now. You could buy Tekken 7 for $17. I'm Tekken 7 has been out for damn near 6 years now. And you want this game that's not even 6 months old to be the same as Tekken 7 with all its DLC? Are you kidding me? That's what you're comparing it to?
Yeah.
And it's when I pay for these fighting games, when they first launched, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball Fighters, I paid $50 when these games came out. I was not paying $17. These games, that's an acceptable price.
60.
Anybody else would pay.
You mean 60, right?
$60, $50. Yeah, 60 is actually what it should have been.
Yeah.
And people are complaining about $50. That's what they cost. That's how much people charge for fighting games. Strive, it was the same thing. I think these people just forgot how much they pay for games at launch. Or
Well,
if they didn't buy it at launch, they waited for sale.
let me cut in real quick. Let me say this: Guilty Gear Strive was $60, and they wanted you to pay like $70 for the pass, and they wanted you to pay $80 for like an extra fucking color. By the way,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
yeah, not only that, but it started off with less characters than DNF Duel. DNF Duel has 16, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, 16.
yeah, DNF Duel has 16 characters, and Guilty Gear Strive started off with like 14, I think, if I remember correctly. So 14 or 12, some shit like that. And
Something like that.
honestly, I think DNF Duel is a better looking game. That's just my personal opinion. But you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird that this motherfucker, like, I how many people found this helpful? 133. So I need people to understand that $10 for Guilty Gear Strive. I'm sorry, $10. Wait, Guilty Gear Strive is $10 less than this game, so it would have been 40 at the time. Guilty Gear Strive is $10 less and has like 3 or 4 more characters in DNF Duel. And at this point, I think it has like 2 less stages, if I remember correctly. You know what I mean?
And what people are forgetting is that they're comparing games that have been out for years to this game that's not even half a year old yet.
Yeah,
and they're saying, "Oh, well, Guilty Gear Strive is $10 less." Oh, well, did Guilty Gear Strive come out 5 months ago? I'm sorry, or did it come out last week? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. Like, they're treating it like, it's a car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if this game
right,
like this game has to get them around. So like, if they don't fucking like spend like the cheapest amount for like a car that's like okay, you know what I mean? Like, these motherfuckers are like, well, you know what I'm saying? Guilty Gear Strive is like a 2016, so it's like still reliable. It doesn't have that many miles on it, and I could use this for like a lot longer. It's $50,000 cheaper than this brand new game that's like full price.
Oh my god!
Like, bro,
that's the perfect analogy.
Like, yeah, like, dude, $50. All right, so let me say this too. I am aware that people's financial situations are all different, and I feel for them, but like, if this is actually a grown person, which I don't think it is, they called themselves Joo on fucking Steam. Like, this can't be a fucking real adult. You know what I mean? Like, I'm assuming that they don't make that much money. So yeah, if this is what you're gonna fucking complain about, don't fucking like get on the reviews about the fucking money. Like, you look like a bum to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and not even that, right? Like, it's more so the hypocrisy if people are willing to spend this much on a different game, but because this game is DNF Duel, they don't want to spend that much. Like, yeah, game prices are subjective. Whatever it's worth that's going to be on you, what you're willing to pay. But don't sit here and say, "Oh, well, this game costs this much. This is how much this should." Like, that's an unfair comparison. Like, keep it to the game itself. If you don't want to pay for the game because you think that the matchmaking is dead, which it is, there's not a lot of people on there, I'll give them that, or you think that the single player content's not enough, that's fine if it's for you. You're not willing to pay that much for it, or you can't bring yourself to pay that much for it. That's okay, but don't sit here and like act like that is a universal thing that all people should be paying for, because these people who made this game spent millions of dollars on it. Like, what a lot of people don't realize is that fighting game characters, they're not cheap to make. It costs millions of dollars to make one character, which is insane to me when I first realized how much money it costs just to make one character and all their movesets and animations. It's like, what do you want these people to do? They got to pay bills too. They got to make money off of this. Like, this was probably a 5 to 6 year development cycle for somebody, and you just want to pay $17 because you don't like whatever it is you don't like about the game, and you want everybody else to pay that money too? Like, come on, man. Actual people, real people worked on this game.
Yeah, and the only point of reference for this game is on a format that isn't even compatible with Unreal Engine at this point, right? Like you have to like make all this shit from scratch. It's not like, you go from fucking Unreal Engine 3 or whatever Exert was on and then go to 5, or 4 for Strive, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's like some assets that you could port over to Strive and like at least like work on, but there's like no point of reference for this game. So like at least like give it that bit of respect. But that's I think,
and this game is beautiful. Like, contrary to what anybody might say, this game is fucking gorgeous.
Honestly, I think it's the best looking ArcSys game next to Dragon Ball FighterZ, to be honest. Because Dragon Ball FighterZ,
it looks amazing.
Yeah, what they did with these characters from the source material is fucking insane, and it needs to be commended, honestly. Like, I know people are going to think, oh, they're dick riding. Like, no, it needs to be commended. Like, if you go and look at what DNF has for, like, source material, and, like, the costumes that they have, the sprites that they have, and the artwork that they have, like, they're not exactly the same. But if you look at the artwork for these characters and then look at the characters now on DNF, they look so clean. It's ridiculous. Like, go look at Berserker on DFO's website. Look at his sprite in-game with the costume that you have to pay for. And look at DNF Duel's Berserker. It's, like, crazy. But I think we, like, wrapped that one up, honestly. 0.6 hours. Shut the fuck up, guy. I see these ones over to the side that are just grabbing my attention too. This one guy person named DGen says at November 6th, 7.9 hours. This game is not worth due to how slow updates are. It seems ArcSys is more focused on Dragon Ball and Guilty Gear. Well,
yes. There you go again. ArcSys, they are focused on ArcSys as if ArcSys is the only person that can fix this problem. They don't understand anything. They just see ArcSys and they're like, oh, okay, ArcSys is doing Guilty Gear, they're doing Dragon Ball, they're doing this and that. Why can't ArcSys just do the same? Because it's not ArcSys that is developing this game. It's aiding, and it's Nexon that's actually publishing it. People don't understand this.
I don't think ArcSys is doing too much more with Dragon Ball FighterZ anyway, so that's weird that they even mentioned that.
They aren't. That's Bandai all the way.
Yeah, this is November 6th. Like, the only thing that's happened with Dragon Ball now is, like, bug fixes or some shit. But, if anything, they might be working on Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. I highly doubt it. They said that they're open, like, as DNF Duel release, they said they're more open to, like, taking like other franchises on for fighting games. They're not being shy about it anymore. They want people to like request fighting games from them, which I actually appreciate, because ArcSys, even though they make other games, they are primarily known as the fighting game developer, which is cool.
They have a pretty good record of taking a lot of popular anime IPs and turning them into fighting games. So far, they've done Fighters, they've done Kill la Kill, they're doing DNF with DFO.
Persona.
And they've done Grand Blue, Persona. Like, they have a pretty good track record right now.
Right, it's solid.
And I would say Fighters 2, that may be a possibility still, because Bandai, in order for them to keep that Dragon Ball license, they have to keep pumping out these Dragon Ball games. So that would be a pretty easy cash cow for them, honestly.
I don't know how soon it's going to come out, and I don't know, like, I'm the type of guy that wants, like, a full roster from, like, the previous game before you fucking make the second game. I need to know everybody's there, because Dragon Ball's a rich franchise, and honestly, there's, like, still dozens of characters they can still add. Like, BoJack is one people were asking for. People want Chi-Chi. Some people want...
It could be like the ultimate Tenkaichi 3 roster. That had like over 100 characters. It's still, to this day, I think that's like the one Dragon Ball game with the largest roster ever. Like, they had everybody in that game.
It is. We got another review from Dark Sky, 1.9 hours, November 5th. It's a lot of these motherfuckers from November and October. I spent the first 2 hours or so queuing. Decided that's a good indication to get a refund. I'm not going to be completely mad at that. If they find a way to get more players, possibly through crossplay or discounts, then I'll get it. Again, it seems fun. Like, all right, I mean, you only spent 1.9 hours of it, but, like, I get it.
Right.
You spent a lot of time queuing, but, like, how much of the game could you actually play and decide if it was fun or not? Like, that's somebody who just didn't want to spend however much they spent, which, if this was November 5th, then it was 40% off. They didn't want to spend $30, but that's on them. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. And actually, when was November 5th? That was on Saturday. Motherfucker, I was probably streaming the game with open lobbies. But yeah, you spent 2 hours queuing, but you didn't check the player matches. Well, I was probably streaming that entire day.
This is a long-ass video. I thought it was going to be like a couple minutes. But like anybody that's still watching, just remember, I pretty much... I'm going to be playing Sonic and later God of War. But I pretty much have been... opening a lobby in DNF Duel in the morning time and in the evening time, like every fucking day. Like I work 3 days a week. I work Saturday through Monday, and my ass is in here playing the game when I'm not working out or hanging out with my fiance. You know what I mean? So, and
yep, lobbies are there, and that's just like service level, right? If people really wanted to find matches, they would probably look into, nobody's playing this game. I wonder why. Do some research. You don't have to go very far before you see that people are telling you, hey, this is turned into a Discord fighter. Check out this Discord so you can ping people for matches. And then from there, if they really wanted matches, they would go to the Discord. They would see that the Discord is pretty lively. There are people there willing to play. And then you get into that cycle of, finding people who are willing to go with long sets and actually help you learn the game.
Yeah.
Because like most people, I say this a lot. Casually, the game is dead, but competitively, this game is popping. Like I've officially now found tournament discourse for this game where there's a tournament every single day of the week. No lie, I've gone probably a week before, 6 days straight. I've been in tournaments, and my only day off was like a Saturday. But now I've discovered there are Saturday tournaments now. There are Friday tournaments. There's a Friday tournament that's coming up for me where I was doing like a league. I placed in top 16. So now I have like an invitation to go to. It's like the competitive scene is there if you are trying to really get into the game like that. And you can enter tournaments every week, especially on Thursdays with Tampa Never Sleeps. They have online tournaments with $1,000 pot bonus that is sponsored by Nexon. They used to be sponsoring Tuesday's can opener with Yipes for the $1,000 pot bonus, but now it's moved to Thursday with TNS, and that's going to go on till the end of the year. So that's another thing I tell people too. It's like you could be entering this easy, figured out game with no death, and you could be winning easy money every week. So why don't you?
Right, exactly. And I need to look into getting onto like the PC. The PC tournaments, because Lord Almighty, seeing some there was like a PC tournament, and like I said, there was like fucking 2 or 3 Rangers in there. I'm like, I didn't see no strikers. I don't think. I'm like, well, sign me right up. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? But,
yeah. So the competitive scene, the worst player that you would fight is Tenured Mule, and he's a Hitman player, and it's his character is strong, but he's also a strong player himself. Like, there's a mountain between other Hitman players and this guy.
Right, I know.
And he's currently the one that's sweeping all the tournaments, so he's really the one that you have to be worried about.
Gotcha. So the next review down by Jason is like more of the same, but just some more cliff notes here. The player base is very scarce, and as an effect of the ridiculous character balancing and lack of developer updates. Again, this was posted November 3rd. Again, I don't have any tolerance for these motherfuckers that just don't know or didn't do any research to see that there's going to be an update in December. Like, why is that so hard for people to fucking understand? It's like telling... Right. It's like I'm talking to a fucking dog here. You know what I mean? Or it's like, like how you talk to a dog, you say, stop. And then they fucking keep doing what they're doing. Right.
And they forget 5 seconds later. It's like they forget. They just keep going.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
They'll look you right in the face as if they understood you, and then turn around and do the exact thing you said not to do.
Yeah. Like, I deal with it with my fiance's dog. Just a real quick story on that. Like, I was looking it up because they have acorns and shit in their backyard. And I like take the dog out and I like having fun with the dog. I'll run around the yard with the dog, give it some exercise, or just like around the neighborhood or something. and the fucking dog will eat acorns. I looked it up. You're not supposed to let them eat. You're not supposed to let them eat acorns because acorns are a choking hazard, and them shits can mold on the inside. You know, and the dog has gotten sick.
And it's everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and the dog has gotten sick before, and I'm like telling it, stop. No, I'll walk to it, and then it'll like run away from me because it knows. Dogs know what you're about to do. You're about to fucking take something from them. They don't like that. But that's kind of like how these fucking people are. Like, there's information on the World Wide Web. If you looked up DNF Duel update or a DNF Duel DLC incoming or next DNF Duel update, I'm sure you will find a fucking source that said December. You know? Like, how fucking hard is that? Like, and then the rest is just complaining about, like, you know, losing when they fucking fought somebody. They got their cheeks clapped or some shit.
Yeah, see, whenever somebody mentions balance or horrific balance as, like, one of their cons or negatives for the game, and they have less than 60 hours, I tend to not listen to those people, because those are the same people that would say that launcher is broken.
Yeah, that's specifically why I play launcher against people that I think are newer to the game. I recently started using troubleshooter. I'm a nice guy. The contrary to this video, I'm a nice guy. I'll pick a character I don't know shit about, or a character I'm not that good with, just so I can like level with you a bit more. Like, I know I'm a bit of a tough deal, like, to somebody that's new, but I'm not a bully. You know what I mean? I was the first 2 months when it was fucking packed and jamming on PC and PSN. I was a bully. I was doing the dumbest shit to people. Like, I was taking their lunch money and punching them in the nose.
Hey,
you know,
that's exactly what you should be doing, though. Especially when that game just came out.
Yeah,
but it's interesting you say that, because I did that with somebody literally just this morning.
Oh, really?
I saw somebody streaming, and he was practicing launcher while doing ranked, and you know, I was in there giving him tips and stuff, and he was like, yeah, I have 2 other friends that play this game pretty heavily, and so, you know, I usually will, like, play with them and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, and I'm telling him, you know, I play her competitively, and I know a lot of stuff, so I can help him out. And, you know, after he was done with rank, I took him into a player match, you know, invited him into my lobby, and I just went through characters that, you know, I'm recently just started picking up with, like, in a week. But because I have played so many matches, like, I know, you know, on the surface level how these characters should work, and because of how easy the game is to really get into, it's not hard to really pick up a character and you're like, okay, well, I know that they do this, let me just figure out what the buttons are, and then I'll just chain it together because I know what needs to happen. But still, it was giving him something to work on, because as a launcher player, I know her weaknesses, you know, inside and out. So I was picking these characters with the strategies in mind of, I'm trying to teach this guy things that he shouldn't be doing, things that he should be punishing, you know, stuff like that. And I was slowly getting up to, like, you know, I used my 3rd character, then I used my 2nd character, or I used my 4th character, then I used my 3rd character, then I used my 2nd character, and then finally I started doing launcher mirrors with him. Dude, this guy was, like, losing his mind. He had no idea how I was doing half the shit I was doing in launcher. Like, I can send you the VOD later, but he was like, what is happening? I don't understand what's going on. How are you doing this? It's crazy to see somebody who, you know, looks like he's fairly new to the game. I think he might have already had it. Maybe he just dropped it for a bit. But to see them coming back, they pick this character up. You know, they're in matches. They're kind of struggling a little bit, or they see something that's cool. And I'm giving them advice. And then they play against me, and it's like their entire worldview is just crushed because they're like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even think that you could do half the shit that you're doing with this character. It's like insane.
Yeah, I know, man. It is. It's funny seeing that that reaction. You know what I mean? It's funny seeing that reaction when they're like, oh my goodness. Like, it's nice though that they know that there's more to the game, but
just opening somebody's mind like that, so they're not being clouded by all this negativity of dead game. But here's you playing the worst character, showing the endless possibilities that you have with that said character, and then the person is like just trying to process everything. It's just cool to see them start thinking outside the box and like, hold up, this game actually has depth. This character actually could do a lot of cool shit. Like I need to like save these replays so I can go back and watch them later because I don't know what you're doing and I want to figure it out. And that right there is classic fighting game mentality, where you get into a fighting game, you don't know what the hell is going on, and especially if you get into it later and you see people doing stuff, you study it, you watch it, you go back into training mode, and it's that drive to get better and to do the cool shit that you saw other people doing that like keeps you going. And that's, to me, that's like the coolest thing about fighting games in general, but also about just, you know, playing those matches with him and expanding his horizons. And now I'm pretty sure he's not going to listen to dumbass reviews like this that say character balance is ridiculous because launcher is broken. Like, he knows that's obviously false now.
Right.
Well, maybe not. Maybe I did show how broken launcher was, but still, like, he's not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, the game's figured out," because it obviously is not. He saw me do things that he's never seen in his life before.
Right. So I just want to say I think this is probably going to be the last thing we look at for now, but
yeah.
At the end of Jason's review, it says best case scenario, give it some time, which is like totally contradictory to like what he said during the end, or what they said during the entire review. Seems like they just fucking hate the game because of waiting and because they get their cheeks smacked, honestly. But the second thing they said at the end was worst case scenario, play Guilty Gear Xrd instead. And I have a personal beef with this because I've dealt with Guilty Gear Elitist since Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger. I can't stand these motherfuckers. Like, I'm sorry, but I know Xrd had that, and I'm not a Guilty Gear fan. I know you are, and I'm just going to say this real quick, man. I'm not an Xrd fan, but there are two things that we need to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge that Xrd is getting rollback netcode, and that, you know, its beta for rollback, I think, is over. But the second thing...
Yeah, you know what? That's probably the only reason that he said that, too. But go ahead.
Yeah, the second thing we need to acknowledge is Guilty Gear Xrd is not going to be here forever just because it got rollback netcode. Like, and
it's not. It's going to be the same thing that it was with Central Fiction.
Yeah.
2 weeks straight. Everybody was like, oh my god, this game has rollback now. Now we can actually all play it. We're going to be entering tournaments. This game's going to have thousands of players every week. It's the stride killer. It only took 2 weeks before it had a drop off.
And this is what I'll say too. If people wanted to, because there's different schools of thoughts within the Guilty Gear fan base. You know, people want that hardcore shit. They got XX. People want the newest of the new. They got Strive. Xrd is right in this middleman situation where it's not as hardcore as XX, but harder core than Strive. So, like, I don't know how that fits for most people, but all you motherfuckers are just going to be bench pressing each other for, like, the rest of your life if you just keep doing this let's play, like, this last game bullshit. Like, just get...
Right.
Like, it's cool if you want to play that shit in tournament, and it's cool if you want to, like, you know, play it in your spare time and all that stuff online and everything, but don't fucking tell somebody a game is dead and then tell them to go to a game that's dying. Like, that's...
You know what that reminds me of, actually?
What's that?
It's like Smash Elitist with Melee.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and Melee is, I don't know, like, the ins and outs, but Melee is considered, like, the best of, like, all the Smash games until Ultimate. I think people argue with Ultimate being better in some cases, but, you know, like, it's Ultimate, and it has the most amount of characters. It may have some bullshit stages, but you guys got rules and regulations to work through that. Melee is harder and harder to come by, you know, and it's not going to be legal.
Yeah, it's a lot more upfront cost to get involved in Melee than it is to just buy a Switch and buy Ultimate, and boom, you're in.
Yeah, Nintendo isn't getting involved in that shit either, as far as I know. Like, Nintendo is for Ultimate. They're not trying to stick around for their old shit like that. You know, that's just how it is.
Exactly. No. Yeah, they're always pushing their latest product because they want that shit to sell. That's what they spend all their money on. They need that investment.
Yeah, and Arxis is going to be supporting Exert and making these posts about Exert for a while. But don't be mistaken. Strive DLC is coming. DLC for DNF Duel is coming. They're not going to give that much of a fuck about Exert for like too much longer. The same way with Central Fiction, they'll say happy birthday to their characters that have their birthdays and shit. But Central Fiction, as much as I love that game, I don't know what the player base looks like now. You said it dropped off. I don't know for sure myself. I never like checked after like the first 2 months. But honestly,
Yeah, I think last time I checked, it might have been peaking at like maybe 3,000. Well, no, it might be less than that. Might be 1,000 now.
yeah,
I think at some point, like when it first came out, it was like what, maybe 6,000 people were playing it, but it has dropped off.
you're right. But I think that does it for this video, and I'm glad that we're on Steam, so I don't have to make this shit 2K 60 FPS.
Right?
I'm
It's easy. Just scroll on the page.
Yeah, I'm fucking making this shit like 720p, 25 frames per second.
Oh, before we do go though, there is one review I wanted to point out. One of those reviews on the side by Neko Meek.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Kickflip.
Pretty dead game.
So
Better
it's
than
funny.
Melty?
This person, everything that they're saying, just keep in mind everything they're saying. This person actually joined my lobby, and I think they might have even joined my stream. And I was explaining the game to them. I was helping them to get into it, and it's funny for me to see them post this and give up on it because it's like, motherfucker, you fought me. I was helping you understand the game. Like, what pretty dead game? I was there. The 5.9 hours that they were playing, half of that they were probably playing with me on stream. Like,
Right. That's ridiculous. Like,
I don't understand.
updated to negative review, so that means it was good at first. So Pretty Dead Game, Better Than Melty was sad because it's a really fun game and looks sick. So I don't think Melty Blood is that, maybe on PC, but PSN Melty Blood had like sort of a resurgence. I don't know. I haven't got on Melty Blood in a minute.
I think PC is the same. PC is the same. The numbers for Melty have been consistently high, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like even Grand Blue. Grand Blue had like, I was checking once, it peaked at like 225 players in the last 24 hours, whereas DNF, like I keep saying, at the most I have ever seen it has been like 72 or 74. It's been a long time since I've seen it go past that number.
Yeah, I can in good conscience recommend this game when it's so dead. I like the game a lot so far.
It's so fun. He was in my lobby. He was playing with me. I was showing him how the game was fun. Like, if he wanted to just stop with saying, yeah, I joined this guy's lobby, I had a really good time, but I tried to find games after that and I couldn't, then I would understand. But this guy is talking like he didn't even fight me. Like, what?
Yeah,
I was playing with them.
Yeah, well, they said it was fun. I don't know, man. I have no idea. Like, it just seems like a weird transition for this person to just be like, this game is so fun, but I can't recommend it, it's so dead. Like, all right, good. Then you're not helping your fucking dilemma of not being able to play a lot of people. And not only that, but it seems like you don't understand how to, like, add somebody to your friends list so you can, like, play with them.
Right.
And that's a strap before I even knew what Discord was. If a game was not doing so well, I'd find somebody I had fun playing with or had fun chatting with. I would add them and I'd see when they were on or see when they were available. I'd say, hey, let's play. I got a friend like that on PSN right now, Violet Void. We talk about this shit all the time. Like, yo, we don't like to see fighting games die. So, like, if you want to play something, I'm down if you're down. Like, that's we
Actually,
play.
I think I know who that person is too.
Oh, really? Yeah, Violet.
I think I've seen that name.
Yeah, he likes
in one of these discords.
He likes to make tech for like Amane, for Central Fiction and like combos for like other games. But he plays a lot of 2D fighters. He's been recently getting into Tekken, but yeah, like we like to play each other. And honestly, it should just be as simple as that. Like, if you want to play, if you're available, then let's play. We don't even have to talk about how dead a game is if it's just us and we have fun, right? So what the fuck is the
exactly
problem?
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm streaming this game. People who don't know, I have like over 5,000 player matches right now, and one of my buddies who I have played fighters with, he'll pop into the stream sometimes and look at my match. He's like, dude, how are you constantly finding matches? I was in ranked the other day, sitting there for like 15 minutes, and I couldn't find anybody. Or he would like look in player matches. He's like, how do you have so many matches already, and how are you always fighting people? It's like, I'm just consistent. I'm in the Discords. And, I'll ping people for matches. I'll IM people. Like, as long as you are willing to go out there and find people, you'll find somebody to fight. It's not hard, really.
Yeah.
It's just people don't want to put in the effort. They just want matchmaking to work. And you know what? That is completely fine. But just be upfront about that. Just say, I want matchmaking to not be dead. Don't just be like, I want the game to not be dead, because the game is not dead. There's obviously always going to be people playing it.
Yeah, Neko Mimic Kickflip is the type of person to be like, man, I got this pussy, but there's no other dicks in here, so I can't possibly recommend this pussy at all. I'm sorry to be so vulgar with it, but I had to. I don't know. I was just thinking about
exactly it.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, he got a clown for a reason.
Yeah, I just gave him a clown too. I seen that. But all right, man. Like that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you want more long form videos like this, just let me know. If you think we're both idiots, let me know so I can fucking clown on you. And Jaxvex too, and all the Discord community. We got gang signs.
Right?
Yeah, but that's
it. Screen cap your ass.
Yeah. Later, y'all.